evening. I'm Olivia Shook. Will you please stand for the national anthem performed by Jacob Palmer?
Tonight, we welcome you to the Washington Middle School 8th grade graduation ceremony. Tonight, we will be honoring the 8th grade students who have worked hard throughout the years to be here tonight.
We hope you enjoy the ceremony.
If you would direct your attention to the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade band, they will be performing Africata, directed by Mrs. Julie Donnell.
And I'm Ariana Valencic. Tonight we'll be talking about our 5th grade memories, but before we begin, we'd like to have a short moment of silence in honor of our past teacher, Mrs. Ostanek. A lot of things happened in our 5th grade year. In Mrs. Ostanek's class, we could earn Ostanek bucks and purchase cool prizes from the treasure chest. We also hosted the pushcart wars at the 5th grade softball game. And at the end of the year, Mrs. Ostanek's class won the bombardment tournament. We can all probably remember a lot of things from Mrs. Anderson's class too. We learned about biomes and made lots of journals on everything from clouds to planets. We also gave short speeches and conducted experiments that helped us prepare for 8th grade, even though we probably didn't realize it at the time.
Thinking back to my 5th grade year, I recall many great moments. One was being part of Mr. Ledger's class. He made learning fun. Coming in at the beginning of the year, the first thing we did was take an IQ test that he said we'd fail for sure. And of course, everyone did. Those were tricky questions. Mr. Ledger kept us on our toes. We made mobiles to learn about geometry. We learned about note-taking, which many of us had never done before. We played math games like Math Quest, NIM, What's the Number, and the Pyramid Game. In language arts, we expanded our vocabulary and learned about the Iditarod dog race, one of the highlights of the year. We tracked a musher and did a whole project on an animal from Alaska. Mr. Ledger would always say that kids came into 5th grade afraid of him because they heard him yelling. He wasn't yelling. That's just how he tells the stories, with enthusiasm. Mrs. Herman taught social studies. She made learning fun by sticking in projects that we would do with the lessons. The most prominent in my memory is the teepee project. We made Plains Indian teepees out of sticks, brown paper sacks, and Play-Doh. Every day in Mrs. Herman's class was a new experience. In computer class, Mrs. Ennis was our teacher. It was her first year at Lincoln and our last. We made PowerPoints about Lincoln and what we remembered about our time there, since we were the last 5th grade ever to be in that building. Looking back, we can all remember feeling important because we, as 5th graders, were taught dogs at Lincoln. We rule. Now, future 8th graders will look back at their 5th grade year, remembering fearing the big 8th graders roaming the halls. It has been an honor to be the last 5th grade class at Lincoln, with all its familiarities. We saved up all that we learned at Lincoln and brought it with us to WMS. Thank you to all of the teachers who made a great year possible.
Good evening, I'm Emily Hireman, and I am Aaron Moon. I remember the day when I first came to Washington Middle School. It was for 6th grade orientation. The school seemed huge. There were many thoughts running through my head, such as what if I get lost, or what if I'm late for class?
We actually learned to adapt to the new environment pretty quickly. One of the most fun events of our 6th grade year was our field trip to Chicago. We got up nice and early for the buses. We first arrived at the Field Museum. We saw Sue the dinosaur and viewed many lifelike exhibits.
Next, we headed off to the Museum of Science and Industry. There we found some crazy exhibits, the flight simulator, the Whispering Walls, and the IMAX theater.
Our 6th grade year was a pretty exciting year in sports. The biggest event was experienced by the 7th grade girls basketball team.
Mr. Chave and Mrs. Kinsey coached the 7th grade girls basketball team all the way to a 25-0 state championship. Many of us donned our orange and black and traveled on the fan buses to support the great team.
I don't think our year would have been the same without our teachers. Mr. Chave taught us everything we needed to know about math. He made learning math fun and easy to understand using cereal boxes, flipping frogs, and math superheroes. Mrs. Miller transferred her knowledge to us about world history and numerous cultures.
Mrs. Mattis led us through many science experiments, which included dissecting owl pellets and chicken wings, using microscopes, and exploring our environment.
Our 6th grade year was also the year that Mrs. Krieger retired. We were lucky to have her. She was creative and fun and helped us learn what we needed to know about language arts.
Our 6th grade year was full of great memories and great teachers that we will cherish forever. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Ashley Evans.
And I'm Megan Ernst. Tonight we will be sharing our 7th grade memories. Welcome to the wonderful world of science. This was the greeting we received every day when we walked into Mr. Warner's science classroom. He used Barbies and skydiver cutouts to explain how skydiving worked. We experienced his unique character when he taught us how to decompose materials in the worm bins. We learned about simple machines and how to find the density of Twinkies and other objects. We kept a record of everything in our journal book. 7th grade science was a blast.
Social studies was a very fun time because Mrs. Kinsey had a fun way of teaching. We all worked for prizes by earning tickets for answering questions early. Studying for tests was made easy with Mrs. Kinsey's I Can See.
Miss Endrick kept things fun and exciting in language arts. Standing out among all the lessons was our unit on Japan. We read about the Japanese culture and learned about origami cranes. The Japanese believe that cranes are good luck. Our 7th grade class made over 1,000 origami cranes and sent them to hospitals in Japan where patients there believed they gave them hope and courage.
At the same time we were studying Japan and language arts, Mrs. Johnson taught us to count in Japanese. Ichi, ni, san, shi, go, roku, shichi, hachi, kuju. The stock market was also on our list of math studies. We invested daily and charted our progress.
We have many good memories of our classes and our teachers. We also have some good memories from the basketball court. It was this year that Coach James, Coach Strickler, and the 7th grade boys basketball team made it to the Elite 8 state championship play, ending their season with a record of 25-2.
The final fun-filled activity was our trip to the Brookfield Zoo.
We will long remember our 7th grade year.
Hello, I'm Carly Dysley.
And I'm Emma Luttrell.
Eighth grade was a year that made a world of difference in our lives. We will treasure the fun of learning and the love of our teachers as golden memories. First of all, we have to recognize Mr. Bell, our fabulous science teacher, retiring this year after 35 years of teaching. His involving experiments really got us thinking, and we were always especially attentive to his "this could save your life" stories. Also, his care and gentle words would always help you in your homework trouble. Thank you for being an excellent teacher, Mr. Bell, and all of us will miss you. Mr. Strickler always made math, no matter how difficult, fun and entertaining. From playing on the Nintendo Wii in order to make box and whisker plots to laughing as he ran into a door to illustrate that pride goes before a fall, Mr. Strickler changed math from dull algebra to exciting fun. Chief Sokotoa taught us trigonometry functions, and man versus machine competitions helped us learn math. Thanks, Mr. Strickler, for making math fun. Minutia phenomenal O Pooh Bears. Who does that sound like? Yes, Mrs. Gasser. Her infinite vocabulary and how she was always sure to congratulate herself when she used a good word always baffled us and made us laugh. She was always ready to help us with our speeches and read us books with her beautiful reading voice. Language arts and social studies with Mrs. Gasser is a total blast. We'll miss you. This was Mr. Durkoltz's first year at Washington Middle School. The fabulous social studies and language arts teacher taught us all something special. His most famous quote, "Hey you, get busy," inspired us to work our hardest. His mitts were also popular, which were given out whenever you did something exceptional or helped him out. Wow, Mr. D, thanks for a great year. This year, the music department of Washington Middle School really took off. Chorus won a first at contest this year. A group of extremely talented percussionists performing a piece titled Lids were commended and even featured on Week News 25.
Sensations, a singing and dancing group, traveled from Leisure Acres to the courthouse, spreading the excitement of the Lion King musical to all. Jazz band also was sure to please with smooth music and catchy melodies. Lastly, a boys singing group called Not in Trouble made lots of people smile with breathtaking harmony and old Guitar Hero classics. Okay, along with all of our teachers and our musical accomplishments, our 8th grade year was full of athletic memories. I'll start with the girls. Even though the volleyball team didn't end with the most winning season, we had a great time. We'll always remember Coach Griffith's words of wisdom after our games. Even though we had to run 400s every day, track was fun. On Fridays, we were rewarded for our hard work throughout the week with games, popsicles, and trips to Holland. Then there's basketball. We had lots of fun singing on the ways to games, songs like Kinsey-licious, and even Coach Kinsey would put in a move or two. The season ended with a trip to a Bradley game. Softball kicked off the year. My understanding is that every time the team lost, Coach Sizer would tell the players to put that game in your pockets. Even though the pockets were very full this past season, the team has great memories.
Hello, my name is Ben Vine.
And I'm Zach Little. Tonight we will be telling you all about our 8th grade boys sports seasons. Our 8th grade athletic season started with baseball. This year, baseball was full of good times, and as the last year of our middle school baseball career, I wouldn't have changed a thing. Many thanks to Coach Warner and Coach Gooden for teaching all of us a lot about the game and having fun at the same time. Our big highlight of the season was our boys basketball team. It is amazing what a team can achieve if no one cares who gets the credit. This is how our season was. We shared the ball and didn't care who scored the points, and it took us a long way. At every practice, Mr. Strickler had his basketball shoes on and was ready to run with us.
We finished with a record of 26-2, and we had the state. State was probably the best memory I had of the whole year. When we won our first 2 games, we knew that we had a chance to fulfill our goal of winning the state title. At state, the place was packed with the whole Washington side filled with community members that came out to support us. The crowd created a sea of orange and black. Over the season, we captured the Central Tournament Championship, the Conference Championship, Regional and Sectional Championship, and the not-to-be-forgotten second-place state championship title. It was definitely a year to remember, and we would like to thank Coach Strickler, Coach James, and everyone who supported us.
To finish the season, we had track. Another season full of good memories that we will all remember for a long time. 18 track leads qualified for state this year.
Congratulations to Zach Little, who placed 6th in state in the DISC, and we would like to thank all our coaches for all their hard work and efforts in helping us be the very best.
Hello, I'm Alexis Humphrey.
And I'm Destiny Buckley.
Please direct your attention to the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade chorus.
They will be singing My Time to Shine under the direction of Miss Courtney Custon.
evening. I am Megan Hines. And I'm Mackenzie Thurston. We would like to take this time to thank the Washington School District 52 Board of Education for generously supporting the many activities and programs that have helped us be where we are today. Please stand as you are recognized and remain standing until all of our very distinguished District 52 Board of Education has been introduced. Mrs. Sharon Valensik, Mrs. Kathy Deathridge, Mr. Robert Weinrich, Mr. Rick Norris, Mr. Carl Witt, Mr. Dan Hagan, and Mr. Gordon Kerner. Once again, we thank you all for your support throughout the years of WMS.
Hi, I'm Natalie Hamilton. Emily and I would like to recognize and thank the PTC, Music Boosters, and Athletics Boosters for your continual support.
All of the members of these groups are very important and very appreciated. Please know how much we appreciate your time and hard work in making District 52 programs so fantastic. We applaud and thank every one of you.
Hi, my name is Zoe Volk. And I'm Mackenzie Thurston. We've had an awesome experience at WMS, but we couldn't have done it without the District 52 faculty and staff. This evening, we'd like to recognize the following faculty and staff members who have joined us tonight. Please stand as your name is called and remain standing until all have been introduced.
Mrs. Karen Anderson, Mrs. Christy Archdale, Mr. Rob Bell, Mrs. Peggy Brainerd, Mrs. Sarah Brown, Miss Dawn Burns, Mr. Jason Chave, Mr. Jeff Chitwood, Miss Courtney Custis, Mrs. Wendy Custis, Mrs. Dawn Delfonso, Mrs. Julie Donnell, Mr. John Donnell, Mr. Reggie Dirkles, Mrs. Evelyn Durham, Mrs. Jane Eaton, Miss Esther Endress, Mrs. Cindy Gasser, Miss Lacey Gleason, Mrs. Jill Herman, Mrs. Beth Hireman, Mrs. Maureen Hakovich, Mrs. Kim Johnson, Mrs. Melissa Kinsey, Mrs. Lori Maddox, Mrs. Pam Markeline, Mrs. Kathy Mattis, Mrs. Barb McCoskey, Mr. Steve Strickler, Mrs. Ann Trower, Mrs. Kim Wade, Mrs. Diana Wara, and Mrs. Dari Zeiser. Also our retired teacher, Mrs. Judy Vaughn.
Thank you for all that you have done for us.
Good evening, I'm Ben Ryan. Each year, the 8th grade select a classmate to speak at this ceremony. It is my pleasure to introduce the 8th grade graduate selected to represent the class of 2008, Mr. Daniel Philip Nolte.
What an experience middle school has been. Has it really been 3 years since we first came here? Armed with our grade school diploma, very prestigious, we set out to do the impossible, survive middle school. We all succeeded, but not without the support of our teachers. Their steadfast dedication they showed to their jobs and the patience and kindness they showed to us every day deserves a round of applause. They treated every individual with the utmost care and respect, and they never left the student behind. They made sure that we all received the best education they could offer. Mr. Chave is a phenomenal example. Not only does he teach an extra class, but he stays after school to teach one-on-one if you don't understand. Mr. Bell is another great example of a truly caring teacher. He always knew what to say to brighten our day, and he always made us feel like a valuable part of the class. Mrs. Mattis gets the award for the most enthusiastic teacher. Every time I hear the Human Body song, I remember her singing as loud as she could and dancing along, jumping up and down in her excitement to teach. Yes, we've had many great teachers throughout our years here, but I think we also have to thank some of the students for the lessons they've taught us. I would first like to thank Jesse Filson, and Zach Little for teaching us the importance of safety. Poor Jesse was in a wheelchair for weeks after he fell roller skating. Next, I would like to thank David Zorro. He taught us how to make great videos, and he also taught us what it feels like to laugh so hard your sides hurt. He probably made the funniest video I've ever seen. Last but not least, I'd like to thank Mike Ernst and Jordan Broadstone. I think tree jumping was a very fun way to overcome obstacles. I bet those trees looked tall before they jumped, but they never backed down, and most of the time they easily cleared those. One time Mike did, but we won't talk about that. I think our education was like a running start that helped us jump our trees. Even though some of them seem big, we overcame them all, and that's why we're here today, to show that we've made it all the way. We've crossed the finish line. Now our high school education starts. Graduation is not the end, it's the beginning. Childhood is like a room. Middle school opened the door. The door for us is graduation. As we stand in the doorway, we look forward to entering our future. Where will we go from here? With this quote, I would like to help us take our first step from the door and start the long journey ahead. Don't go where the path may lead. Instead, go where there is not a path and leave a trail. I congratulate all of you and wish you a safe, fun-filled journey.
Hi, I am Natalie Hamilton.
And I'm Jacob Palmer. It is our privilege and honor tonight to recognize and honor Mr. Bell. Yes, we are sad to see that he is retiring, but we're also happy for him as he begins this new season of his life.
Mr. Bell started his career at District 52 in 1973 and has devoted 35 years to the students of District 52. In the classroom, Mr. Bell was the king of experiments. Hands-on activities kept us learning. He also took the time to share many of his own life experiences with us.
Outside the classroom, Mr. Bell continued to teach us valuable lessons. As a coach of the WMS Elastic Bowl team for the past 19 years, Mr. Bell has had a most positive effect. This year, the Elastic Bowl made it to sectionals under his direction.
Mr. Bell, as the Scholastic Bowl coach, demonstrated his support of extracurricular activities for students. However, his devotion to students didn't stop there. Not only was he at Scholastic Bowl events, but Mr. Bell definitely was the #1 Washington Middle School sports fan. At basketball, volleyball, softball, and even track events, there was always a familiar face in the crowd, Mr. Bell.
Mr. Bell, you will never be forgotten. We thank you for all that you have done for all of us and all of those before us.
What an amazing man. To the class of 2008, at Washington Middle School, you have excelled academically, athletically, and musically. The faculty and staff of District 52 and I are very proud of you and all of your accomplishments. Each of you is ready to move on to high school. You have all that it takes to be the very best. Work as hard as you have in the classroom, and you will excel academically. Get involved in extracurricular activities, and you will excel athletically and musically. Continue to do all that you have done at WMS, and you will succeed. We congratulate you, and we celebrate with you tonight. We wish you the very best as you begin your high school careers at Washington Community High School. Mr. John Tigner, Superintendent of District 52, and members of the District 52 Board of Education, each student seated before you, has met the requirements set forth by the District 52 Board of Education and is to be rewarded the Certificate of Promotion to High School. It is my honor to present to you the class of 2008. tonight, Mrs. Sharon Valensik and Mr. Carl Witt, Board of Education members, and our very special WMS retiree, Mr. Rob Bell.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to present the diplomas to the graduating class of 2008. Jacob Michael Palmer. Olivia Marie Shook. Natalie Marie Hamilton. Mackenzie Ray Thurston. Zoe Noel Volk. Andrea Inez House. Ariana Therese Valensik. Megan Elizabeth Ernst. Ashley Elizabeth Emery. Jessica Lynn Horton. Carly Jo Dively. Benjamin Tyler Ryan. Daniel Philip Nolte. Zachariah Wayne Little. Megan Elizabeth Hunt. Emma Marie Luttrell. Alexis Kaylin Marie Humphrey. Destiny Buckley. Anna Christine Theme. Emily Renee Hireman. Krista Ann Trout. Kyle Austin Zimmerman. Tayrod Lincoln Sky Fields. Isaac Glenn Fisher. Charles Richard Ludolph. Kaylin Nicole Meeks. Kayla Marie Bolton. Taylor Joanne Wright. Jessica Mallinson. James Erickson Norley. Nicole Jenner. Lydia Joy Strubar. Janelle Marie Taylor. Jared Ryan Holman. Dakota Bullard. Justin Clem. Elizabeth Kelsey Johnson. Cody Michael Dexheimer. Jordan Thomas Broadstone. Joshua James Rutledge. David Simeon Zorup. Mackenzie Canty. Daniel James Potter. Jacob Robert Cox. Courtney Amanda Smith. Skylar M. Wheeler. Will Themey. Tyler Graves. Brady Beebe. Brett Michael Rose. Seth Brian Mazzarelli. Cody Miller. Candace Summers. Vincent Ray Jones. David Lee Maxheimer. Maggie Ray Himmelin. Ella Louise Shoney. Ashley Nicole Marie Witt. Derek Nathan Jacobson. Alex Anthony Frost. Ann Carol Chapman. Kyla Marie Hinthorn. Lindsay Catherine Reeves. Grant Glick. Chandler Duchesne. Jesse Marcus. Rebecca Redmond. Nicholas Edward Gaston. Benjamin Lee Darrow. Anna M. Peterson. Linnea Gustafson. Allison Shantz. Shelby Lynn Beidel. Timothy Martin Darrow. Rebecca Joyce Neighbors. Timmy Ryan Anderson. Aaron Ace Adams. Tyler R. Bennett. Aaron Jacob Walker. Jesse Dean Filson. Michael Evan Ernst. Mara Elizabeth O'Brien. Vincent Wellesley Maxwell. Jesse Stone. Brant Zilch. Dustin Mark Koontz. Thomas Ryan Alt. Isaiah Nathaniel Royer. Bradley Allen Strickler. Amanda Rickey wasn't able to be with us this evening. Joshua Zimmerman. Lauren Danielle Denning. Victoria Ashlyn Lentz. Danielle Renee Lovin. Daniel Josiah Miller. Tyler James Bush. Nicholas Tyler Grant. John Wesley Hunt Sperry. Edwin Marsan. Justin Robinson. Kaylee Ruff.
Good evening. I am Jessica Horton.
And I am Carly Disley.
Okay. For the moment, let us celebrate this night as a tribute to our accomplishments so far. We thank our parents for supporting us, and we thank our teachers for helping us excel. And once again, we thank those who helped us throughout our years. PTC, Music Boosters, Athletic Boosters, the Washington District 52 Board of Education, Superintendent Mr. John Tigner, and our principal, Mrs. Diane Orr. We thank you for sharing this very special evening with all of us and leave you with a very special performance, the WMS 7th and 8th grade percussion ensemble, Lids. Enjoy.
congratulations once again to the class of 2008. Thank you so much for joining us.